Let's talk about the fuel brouhaha that has greeted us this week. There's been mixed reactions by some motorists to the announcement of a 15 peso reduction in fuel prices at the gov't fuel pumps. The reduction in the fuel price was the outcome of a meeting between government and transport operators yesterday following their nationwide strike. Importers of what they describe as nuisance taxes bloating the prices of petroleum products. Head of Communications at the Ghana Road Transport Union, Abbas Imoro, says the price reduction is an interim measure as government addresses their concerns over the taxes.
At the meeting, and government officials were there. Well, the transport minister tabled our grievances, the petition we've written to him, and what went on up to today. And finally, what they did was, yes, they have to see how best they could rectify the issue. And they told us that, yes, the taxes that we are looking for, the total scrapping, must have to go through Parliament for approval or any other thing that the parliamentarians will decide. So in the interim, they will start with using gov't, since that is the only oil company that they have control over, to start reducing the prices for us. And they even promised, effective from tomorrow, gov't will start reducing so that they will force the other oil marketing companies also, because if you have more higher price, nobody will patronize your products. So after lengthy discussions, this is what we arrive at, and we have to put down some conditions that, well, we want to take your words, but should there be any upward adjustment in their prices, then maybe we'll have to reassemble and see how best we can. After all, it is the current fuel prices that we are looking at. And we'll research and find out that some of the taxes could be reduced for us, whereby it will alleviate us from the current suffering situation in which we are.
But the move has been met with mixed reactions by some motorists who spoke with JoyNews. While some have hailed the new prices, others say it's insignificant. Let's listen to some drivers who spoke to us in Kumasi.
15 pesos in the Ukraine MYA. Now, I say what to fool the
15 pesos reduction won't help in our operations. Fuel prices have gone up about 10 times this year, and it's only gov't who have reduced their prices.
If Ukraine filling stations in Yana to 50, only gov't not to 15 pesos. No, the best rabbi, no, with the onion and in one to be one of the food and the wedding. Which are killators now? There's a 15 pesos now. Come here.
No, me who is artist want to slam not be about 25. Can drivers now who answer. I need you packet case you say.
I do not see the essence of reducing the fuel by 15 pesos. We should unite and embark on a strike action to demand reduction in fuel prices. Let's forget about our political affiliation.
I know. And a bit my one mind. I couldn't answer. A grand woman is one to
you see, make us by percentage
15 pesos? That's too small. I used to buy fuel at 100 Ghana cedis, but now I buy 170 Ghana cedis, which cannot even last 3 trips.
At
least petrol, I say diesel, they will say at least 1 gallon, about 20 cedis.
At least a gallon should be reduced to 20 Ghana cedis. The price of fuel keeps going up every day, which has affected our business.
15
pesos. No, what is right? Anyone for Nadia? Well,
it would have been better if the price of fuel hadn't been reduced. The government is just toying with us.
In Accra, my colleague Michael Papania-Shale has been visiting some fuel pumps and has filed this report.
We are here live at Abeka fuel station, the gov't station here. And right behind me, you can see that the figures have changed. It used to be 6.85 yesterday, but I'm understanding that 6 a.m. today, this automated machine changed it to 6.7 according to the directive. So that's what we have here this morning. It's been changed from 6.85 to 6.7. The other gov't stations you've been to also reflects the same. Let's check from the other fuel stations and compare that to this. We are here at the Abekan La Paz Trotro station to interact with some of the drivers on the reduction of the fuel at the fuel pumps at gov't.
I think 7,700 is still too high. It's still too high. We need to buy a whole gallon 25 Ghana cedis. And the levies, the energy levies on the fuel, they should just take everything out. Because Ghanaians are suffering too much. You work at the end of the day, you take all your money to filling stations. At the end, we have family too in the house. So why can't the government do something about it? It just looks like we are in our own country as if we are slaves. So we are pleading with the government that it should do something about the fuel. The fuel should come down for all of us to be okay.
The new prices, right now, the petrol increase is too high. We are suffering because we are begging the president say reduce the fuel taxes for us. We need to buy the fuel price. 1 gallon is 25 Ghana cedis. It's okay. That's my problem. Everybody buy fuel. Every driver buy fuel, but not only gov't filling station is selling the fuel. Total is selling the fuel. Why do you say reduce only gov't reduce the fuel price? Why? People are we have Puma, Shell, Total, Benap. All of us is selling the fuel, but not the same price, different prices. Some are selling 32, 34, 28, 29, which is which?
No, it's not okay. Right now we wanted to be reduce it, so that if he is not going to reduce it, other you will increase the lorry fare for us. We are not enough. We want to come down, we're talking about 5 something. So that we will be okay on that way.
gov't reduced its price this morning, as was announced, by 15 pesos. I think that is very much inadequate. We are estimating that if we are able to reduce the fuel price by at least 1 cedi 20, 1 cedi 50, it will go a long way to reduce our problems. So if you were to buy 30 liters a day, that is roughly you are spending extra 60 cedis. So if you are reducing it by 15 pesos, multiply 15 pesos by 30 liters and see the difference. You see, so is 15 pesos is very much I do about nothing. So we think that they can do better. 1 cedi 20, it's okay.
So here is the Abekan Junction Shell fuel station. The numbers on the board is 6.850 per liter here for diesel and for petrol, respectively. Just as a way of background, as of 1st December 2021, the prices stood at 6.90 per liter. Now we are at Dabraka. And from behind me, you can see that Total is also now selling at 6.80. The figures from December 1, 2021, it stood at the same figures, hasn't changed. Reporting from Dabraka for JoyNews, Michael Papani Ashali.
Let's zoom on the full situation. Duncan Amoa is Executive Director of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana, COPEG, and he joins us via Zoom. Duncan Amoa, I'm grateful for your time. Does the 15 pesos reduction resolve the situation we're dealing with?
Aisha, I wish I could say yes, but it certainly does not resolve the situation. It gives some temporal relief. If you were buying fuel yesterday at 6.85 and today is 6.70, that's some relief. But is that exactly what our drivers were asking for? The answer again will be no. Should this post-trend by the Chief of Staff and, for that matter, government be applauded? I'm afraid, again, no. You do have a downstream sector that has over 80 active oil marketing companies with outlets across the country. We have commenced a price deregulation program since July 2015. And what that means is that government was taking its hands off completely as far as pricing is concerned. In times when prices have gone up and we have indicated the need for government to intervene, the response you get is that it is not government that is setting fuel prices. This move is giving a contrary indication to the effect that government is now able to directly manipulate fuel prices, and I'm quite certain it opens the floodgate for a lot more protest in the coming days, simply because if people do not understand why fuel prices are where they are, instead of adopting scientific measures or scientific approaches to get fuel prices reduced, it has become simply a directive. Why 15 pesos? It could have been 10. Why not 20 pesos? It could have been 1 cedi, like I heard some of the drivers that you did speak to also allude to. And so clearly, this is something that gives temporary relief, but would lead to serious problems, even for gov't itself, who is now working with these directives. Aisha, if you have a supplier that probably has sent you products and expect you to pay them after 30 days or 60 days, and then government comes in to instruct that you should reduce prices. The question everyone will be asking is government going to make up for the reduction? Per calculations in-house, government is set to, per this singular action, cost gov't a minimum 90 million Ghana cedis in 1 month. If you do the 60 million liters that gov't naturally sells monthly, you are looking at almost 90 million Ghana cedis loss to gov't alone. Now, what happens with gov't shareholders? Mind you, government has 34% stake in the listed entity called gov't. SNIT has got a stake of about 25%, BOST has got about 20%. Then the ordinary Ghanaian shareholder also has some additional 20% holding in gov't. What happens to their stocks? Would they be able to get the kind of dividends that gov't has given them over the period? This move.
All right, so. All right, so we're losing Duncan Amoah there. It's obvious there's a terrible internet connection there. It's something we'll try and get him to join back so that we can have a proper conversation on what this means for Ghanaians, especially the drivers who are asking for a reduction. Is Duncan Amoah back? All right, so hello, Duncan Amoah. Hello, Duncan Amoah.
I can hear you, Aisha.
Yes, yes, we lost you briefly, so go ahead.
So what I'm indicating is that, yes, for consumers, the relief is good. But is that the solution that the GPRTU and other transport operators were asking for?
They were
I
asking
did hear the
for
GPRTU
the scrapping of some 5 taxes on petroleum.
Yes. And so they were specific in their demands. Now, what was thrown to them is what I will call a knee-jerk reactive or reactionary measure. We are simply throwing in 15 pesos, hoping that it assuages their grievances. But what I can, off the top of my head, say is that this might be as interim as it's temporal, because for tomorrow, you wake up, fuel prices go up again. The agitations are likely to start. Now, once government is also given an indication that it unilaterally can instruct some of the OMCs to reduce taxes, then you are heading to a point where if other sections of Ghanaians do not also like what we see at the pumps, we simply must be asking government to continue reducing. But Aisha, overall, this is very bad for the petroleum downstream sector, if you ask.
Dr. Namwa, let me ask you this. Ideally, what should have been the situation?
The situation should have been Finance Ministry going through a gamut of the taxes, as I have here, which we have indicated over and over again, something could be done. You have BOST that has a certain levy, BOST margin. It is moved from 3 to 9 pesos. Let's grant it, government even wants to give 15 pesos reduction relief.
Duncan Amoah is Executive Director of COPEC. He's been explaining why he thinks the 15 pesos reduction in gold fuel at the oil pumps is a knee-jerk reaction. He says it doesn't resolve the issues by which the demands of the drivers. And he's been explaining why the Finance Ministry should have done more. Do we have Duncan Amoah back?
Aisha, I'm still here. I don't know.
All right,
why
go
my
ahead. Go ahead.
is a bit terrible.
Go ahead, Duncan Amoah.
So what we are saying is that granted government even wants to give 15 pesos relief to Ghanaians, there are proper ways we could have done this from the price build-up. BOST has 9 pesos levy. We could safely move 5 pesos in the interim and give them 4 pesos. They will still be operational. They will still be able to manage at least up until the time that prices decline. You've introduced the sanitation and pollution levy of 10 pesos. Assuming you decided to just take off the sanitation alone at this time to cushion Ghanaians, you would have safely achieved the same 15 pesos reduction with just the BOST levy and the sanitation levy combined. With that, Shell, Total, Allied, Agape, everybody else, Petrosol could simply have also given 15 pesos to their customers. As it stands, 15 pesos that government is giving can only go to 22% of Ghanaians, 28% who probably may be patronizing other oil marketing companies, which probably are spread along their routes or routes, would get nothing. And this is not what I think government would have loved to do. If it is 15 you want to give, there are a gamut of taxes that we have listed. The special petroleum tax of 48 pesos. We could safely have gone into that and given 20 pesos out in the interim if we wanted. But what we have done is simply to throw gold under the trade and simply to say that the 90 million Ghana cedis that government is given is simply going to go through gold. If gold doesn't remain viable in 5 years, if gold doesn't sustain their books in 10 years, it is the same trotro driver that will be asked to come and pay for what we today have as store debt. You may end up having a gold debt situation also being created. These things should not be allowed to continue going forward. Does
COPEC have any intention of taking any action to ensure this is resolved?
Well, Aisha, what I can assure is that in front of me, we've also put together a very scientific document that is specific on what to do when international market prices are bullish or simply increasing. You could have a situation where at, let's say, crude prices at, say, $66, your total tax incidence could decline, somewhere to about 2.83. When it also declines, when crude prices decline, you could have your taxes move up from the 283 to about 597. That way, you do not have fuel prices go above and beyond the ordinary pockets. So you have to find a certain strategy that manages prices. If you don't manage prices, you would only wait for international market prices to go up. Once it does, people will come asking for taxes to be reduced, and some of these knee-jerk reactions would unfortunately be what we resort to. This is very, very scientific. It details what to do when prices get to what levels, what not to do when prices are also lower, what taxes could be enforced so that we can maintain prices like I've indicated.
And you've given a copy to
corporation
government.
countries like
Have you shared a copy of this with government, the NPA, and other stakeholders that matter?
What I can assure is that this is a document that is currently with the NPA and the Ministry of Energy. I'm quite certain that in due time, it could proceed to the Finance Ministry to be adopted if and only if the issue is to manage fuel prices. If we don't adopt a right strategy today, we will come back next year, we will come back 2 years, we'll come back 3 years. The same problem will linger because the taxes are high, world market prices fluctuate. It goes up, it comes down, the CD continues to depreciate, and the most likely outcome will be that fuel prices will continue to go up. Until we adopt a more scientific strategy, we are not going to be out of the woods yet. Lastly, Aisha, as we speak, prices on the international market, it's quite volatile. It goes up, it comes down. If we could also resource bust or reposition bust so that it doesn't just become a dumper that only is waiting for BDC products to come in and then they take throughput charges or monies to maintain their operations. If we're able to get them a certain sum to get strategic stock stored, in the eventual circumstance that fuel begins to go up again somewhere February, March, we would likely have a stock. And that means we don't have to go pay spot prices as we pay when anytime fuel prices go up. If you manage your system that way, there's a certain degree of predictability, there's a degree of petroleum security, there's a degree of price control. But as it stands, there's no strategy. What is operating anyhow, the Tema oil refinery, as I even gathered today, their utility, ECG has also disconnected even light from the refinery. It means nothing is working downstream. There's no coherent strategy. Until we adapt one, Aisha, I'm afraid the 15 pesos, 10 pesos, 14 pesos would simply be a wishy-washy activity and would not sustain prices the way the drivers would want these prices to be sustained for them.
I'm grateful
Aisha.
for your time this afternoon. Duncan Amoah is Executive Director of COPEC. Now, still to come on the pulse, teacher unions, CTT, NAT, NAGRAT, debunk claims of fraud in the one teacher, one laptop deal. This afternoon, the unions have been stating their position on the matter.
To finance this is the professional development allowance. Now, this appeal that we are making, look, we are unions. We even wish government to say, looking at the situation, we have decided to absorb 100% of the cost and we'll be very happy.